throughout quite a few pitches for the Yankees. Top of the second, Javi Lopez, base knock with 1 out. With 2 outs, it's Andruw Jones, the youngest player in history to homer in his first World Series at bat. 19 years of age, Braves go up 2-0. We move to the third, and the Braves are still scoring. 2 men aboard, Chipper Jones. Base knock brings in Blauser and Marquise Grissom. Braves up 4-0. But they're not done. Fred McGriff with an RBI single. Now it's Javi Lopez, and Pettit walks him. Well, Joe Torre has seen enough. He brings in Brian Boehringer. 2 men aboard, facing Jermaine Dye, another one of the young gifted outfielders. Darryl Strawberry gets a good jump. Working on that broken toe. 2 outs. Next batter, as the Counting Crows would sing, Mr. Jones. The first player since Gene Tenace to homer in his first 2 World Series at-bats. 3-run homer. Andy Pettit can only watch. The Braves led it 8-0. Smoltz smoking. Getting Wade Boggs. The grounder to Jeff Blauser. 1 out. Bottom of the third. Next batter is Bernie Williams. You know you got good stuff when you can freeze Bernie. 2 outs. Next batter, Tino Martinez. Looking to Smoltz, a no-hitter through 4 2/3. 5th inning. Runner at first, 2 outs, Wade Boggs. Doesn't usually drive the ball, but he got a good pitch. Up and out over the plate. Makes Grissom pay for it. Grissom likes to play shallow center field. Jeter scores. And the shutout, the no-hitter, over on 1 pitch. 6th inning, no outs. It's Jones again. Well, they kept him in the park. They nearly decapitate Wade Boggs, and they still can't get him out. It's ruled a hit for Jones. If you think that was bad. Tim Raines, the pop-up. Javi Lopez says, I got it. Here, hold my mask. Another freak occurrence. Andy Fox going after the foul pop. Trips over Jerry Davis. Smoltz taken out after 6. Gave up 2 hits, 5 walks, 1 earned. John Smoltz.
Game 2 in the ball yard, and the boogie down, and Jimmy Key trying to match wits with Greg Maddux. Gives up a first-inning double to Mark Lemke. Some fan touched it. Give him box seats. 1 out later, Fred McGriff hits one into the gap. Lemke comes around to score. And as Lemke scores, it's 1-0 Braves. Andruw Jones' first at-bat in Game 2. Perhaps Jimmy Key remembered those 2 home runs by the youngster. Braves could not capitalize there, however. Top of the third, 1-0 Braves. Runners on the corner for Fred McGriff, and Fred rips one up the middle. Marquise Grissom scores. 2-0 Braves, 2 at-bats, 2 RBIs for McGriff. Next batter, Javi Lopez. Hits one up the middle. Nifty stab by Jimmy Key, starting an even niftier 1-4-3 double play. So it's still 2-0 Braves. Bottom of the third, Derek Jeter leading off and getting drilled. Perhaps Maddux, a little payback, a little bit of that free stuff lets Jeter stay in the game. So top 5, Lemke on third, Chipper Jones on second. That man McGriff again hits one deep to right. Paul O'Neill nestling under it, makes the catch. Lemke scores to make it 3-0 Braves. 3 RBIs for McGriff. That was an historic RBI. More on that later. Meanwhile, Greg Maddux just rolling along. Bottom 5, Paul O'Neill bounces to first. Now batting, Mariano Duncan. Grounds to second. Now batting, Joe Girardi. Grounds to short. Maddux spreading it around. 2 hits through 5. Bottom 6, Yanks finally threatening. Men on first and second, nobody out, but Boggs grounds into the 4-6-3 double play. Jeter goes to third. So can Bernie Williams get the man in? The new Mr. October. Now, grounds to second to end the inning. Bottom of the 8th, Maddux in complete control. Yankee fans sitting on their hands throughout much of this game unless they were running on the field. Girardi grounds to second. Derek Jeter grounds to third. Tim Raines did single, Brett. Boggs grounds to second to end the threat. 18 ground ball outs and all for Maddux. Braves win by the final of 4-0.
But Wade Boggs, Paul O'Neill, and Tino Martinez would not be starting Game 3. Yanks trying to get the right-handed bats in the lineup. Right-handed bats like Bernie Williams. He hits both ways, but he hits great right-handed, just like that. Base knock to center field. Tim Raines aboard will score, and it's a 1-0 Yankee lead. Glavine would settle down, gets Charlie Hayes there looking, but watch. Gets the outside corner. That's a theme that would recur. Cecil Fielder in for Tino Martinez at first. They question his gloves sometimes, but not there. He starts the 3-6-3 double play. Don't question him. Here's Andruw Jones at the plate. You know the damage he's done, but Cone gets him looking with the heat. And again, the outside corner coming into play. Top of fourth now, runners at the corners. Darrell, a left-handed bat at the plate, and he goes with the pitch, slaps one into left field. Bernie Williams was aboard. He scores. Now we've got a 2-0 lead. Later in that inning, bases loaded for David Cone. He played in the National League. He knows how to use the bat, but Chipper Jones dives and touches the base, and as you look at it again, clearly he saved extra bases and at least 2 runs. 2-0 New York after 4. We go to the 5th. Bernie Williams trying to relocate that home run swing that he had in the LCS, and he is just about there, but not quite. Andrew Jones leaps and makes that catch, and Tim Raines, who'd rounded second, can't get back. It's a double play. Still 2-0 Yanks. We go to the 5th. Now it's Jones on first. He tries to steal, and Joe Girardi, making everybody forget about Mike Stanley, gets him, ends the threat, and he's pumped. We go to the 6th. 1 on, 1 out. Marquise Grissom sends one left field. Tim Raines has not played a bunch down the stretch, and it shows right there. Misjudges the play, traps the ball. Grissom reaches. So Torrey comes out. Little chat with Cone. Cone convinces him to stay in. Would that be shrewd? Facing McGriff, takes a bite out of the crime dog, induces the pop-up. And so Glavin, who's on third, thinks about tagging, but he holds there. Next batter, Ryan Klesko. Full count, and that is called ball 4. Cone does not like it. Neither does Joe Torre as the run scores. 2-1 New York leads now. So here comes the next batter. Javi Lopez. Cone focuses. Important after the bases loaded walk again, inducing the pop-up. Girardi gives chase and squeezes near the stands. 2-1. Cone comes out. 6 innings, 4 hits allowed. Greg McMichael on in relief for the Braves, and Bernie Williams, and yes, I believe he's relocated that home run swing. His 6th of the postseason. 4-1 Yanks. Mariano Rivera came in, gave up a run. That never happened. So here comes Graham Lloyd. Gets McGriff to pop up, and yes, I believe the first time this season Graham Lloyd has bailed out Mariano Rivera. Then Klesko gets him swinging. It's 5-2 Yankees after 8. And you know what's coming in the 9th. John Wetteland in his grimy baseball cap called third strike on Andrew Jones, and once again that outside corner coming into play. Bobby Cox so disgusted he loses the gum.
Denny Rogers. Denny Nagel trying to prove himself to the Braves starters and doing quite well, blowing away Tim Raines. Derek Jeter, sit on it, Potsy. Nagel retired the first 8 Yankees. The aforementioned Mr. Rogers, his first appearance since October 12th, and it showed. Top of the 2nd, Fred McGriff bringing the wood. Solo job, deep heart of the yard, and just like that, it's 1-0 Braves. Rogers, no big deal. I know my mistake, but it seemed to unnerve him a bit. Javier Lopez walks on 5 pitches. Joe Torre out for a chat with his pitcher. Next batter, Andrew Jones. He 2 walks, runners on first and second. Activity in the Yankee pen. Brian Boehringer gets up. Bobby Cox, some strategy after Jermaine dive fly ball moved Lopez to third. Jeff Blauser lays down the squeeze bunt. Rogers pounces to field, runs in safely. Mariano Duncan did not cover first. Blauser safe. 2-0 Braves. Denny Nagel, sacrifice bunt that brought up Marquise Grissom, and he ripped it right up the middle. Jones would come in to score. Grissom would take off for second. Blauser also scored. It's 4-0 Braves. And I don't think it's what the boss had in mind from Rogers. Rogers left in the 3rd after giving up 5 runs. Top of the 6th, an adventure for Dye. Yankees were down 6-0. Derek Jeter, a little pop fly in foul territory. Jermaine misjudges it. Umpire got in his way. Didn't matter. He wouldn't have caught it anyway. Jeter would later single. After Bernie Williams walked, Big Daddy. This time, Jermaine got caught in between, and he lets it get by him, and it rolls to the wall. Jeter would score. Bernie Williams comes in to score. Yankees down 6-2. Next batter, Nagel just flat lost it. Charlie Hayes single to right. Dye handles it. Big Daddy scores. Yankees down 6-3. Still nobody out. Nagel's gone. Terrell Wade comes in. Nagel didn't get anybody out in the 6th, and Wade promptly walks Darryl Strawberry. Tying run at the plate, nobody out. Mike Bielecki out of the Braves pen. First batter, Duncan, gone, 1 out. Next batter, Paul O'Neill, freeze frame, 2 out. Bielecki had a heater like you wouldn't believe. Blows away Tino Martinez, and Bielecki pumped. He gets out of the 6th. It was a major jam. Top of the 8th, Cox decides to leave Steve Avery in the pen, brings Mark Wohlers in the stead. Little nubber off the bat of Hayes. Braves going to let it roll foul, except it doesn't roll foul. Infield single. After a Darryl Strawberry single, put runners on first and second. Mariano Duncan. A routine ground ball double play. Oh, Rafael Belliard, normally sure-handed, can only get 1 out. That has the tying run at the plate in the person of Jim Leyritz. Wohlers, a hanging breaking ball, and Leyritz makes no mistake. High, deep, and gone. A 3-run job, and We are tied. Wohlers didn't go with the heat, and Leyritz flat made him pay, and the Yankees were rejoicing. Leyritz always comes up big. You know what he did in Seattle, or against Seattle a year ago? Top of the ninth, Duncan with the bases loaded, 2 outs, line shot, die, able to make the grab. Bobby Cox's team still alive. We go to extra innings. Actually, we go to the bottom of the ninth, tied at 6. Graham Lloyd would come in out of the Yankee bullpen. Fred McGriff scorches one, but it's right at Jeter. 6, 4, 3. That gets the Yankees out of a Braves jam at the bottom of the ninth. Off to the top of the 10th, Bernie Williams at the plate. 2 out, 2 on. Cox and Steve Avery now in talk over strategy. They decide to walk Bernie, pitch instead to Andy Fox, except Torrey sends out Wade Boggs to hit for Fox with the bases loaded. And with a 3-2 count, Avery's fastball is upstairs, and the Yankees have the lead 7-6. The Brave fans, yes, didn't want to watch anymore. Top of the 10th, Ryan Klesko in a double switch in at first base, and Ryan just flat butchers the little pop off of Hayes' bat. Another run scores. Klesko still hasn't seen the ball. 8-6 Yankees. Bottom of the 10th, Cox's Braves had the tying run at the plate. 2 out, Terry Pendleton takes Wetteland deep. Tim Raines stumbles. It wasn't pretty. It was effective. And Joe Torre and the Yankees rally from 6 runs down to win the longest World Series game in time ever. Leyritz said, oh, we had him right where we wanted him the whole time. 8-6 Yankees to
game ever at Fulton County. John Smoltz on his game at the top, getting Jeter, Hayes, and Williams struck out the side. Yeah, can you say good start? Can't get much better than that. Bottom of the first, Andy Pettit equal to the task. It's Marquise Grissom, Mark Lemke. Pettit also got the side in order in the first. Stayed scoreless to the top of the 4th. Charlie Hayes in place of Wade Boggs, the righty facing the righty. Leads off, fly ball to right. Grissom, no problem, except Jermaine Dye cut in front of him. Ball drops in, 2-base error charged to Grissom. Guy only had 1 error in the regular season. He's got 3 in the playoffs. After a Bernie Williams ground out, Cecil roped a double to left. Hayes scored. Cecil's 14th RBI of the playoffs, and again, the righty in the lineup against the righty, not Tino Martinez. Bottom of the 4th, 1 on, 1 out. Pettit gets Javier Lopez to ground out of the double play, and a great stretch by Cecil. Bottom 6, still 1-0. Smoltz leads off, base hit. Next batter with 2 strikes. Grissom singles to left, and here we go, right? 2 on, nobody out. Yanks set up the defense. Lemke gonna bunt. Pettit, bare hand, goes to third, got him. Great play. Watch it again. If this is a right-handed pitcher, Haber, if this is you, you don't make that play. Left-hander gets it done. Next batter, Chipper Jones. Right back to Pettit. Righty or lefty turns that one. 1-6-3 double play. Pettit and the Yanks out of the jam. Shutout baseball through 6. Jeff Blauser leading off the inning. A drive to left. Darrell, how's a toe? Looking good. Still 1-0 after 8. Mariano Rivera was unavailable. Mariano Duncan at second. Cox wants the intentional walk to get to the pitcher's spot, but Mark Wohler's not even close. So it's 1st and 3rd. Wetteland's warming up, but Torrey stays with Pettit at the plate. Andy gets a good cut at it, but he flies out to left to end the inning. Stays 1-0 Yankees. Bottom of the 9th, leadoff batter. Chipper Jones rips one to left. Strawberry took some time to get over there with the toe. Allows Jones to get to second. So was it a mistake leaving Pettit in? John Wetteland still warming. Torrey still staying with Pettit. Fred McGriff does his job. Pulls it to the right side, advances the runner. Runner on third, 1 down. He's the tying run. Now he brings in John Wetteland. With 1 out, Lopez up. Smash to third. Charlie Hayes making Torrey look like a genius. The great pickup. Holds the runner, gets the out. 2 out. Pettit can barely watch. They intentionally walked Ryan Klesko, and then against the former Yank, Luis Polonia. Got a rip, but Paul O'Neill is there to make the catch, and the Yankees win 1-0. The only run in this game was unearned. So Joe Torre.
It's 1978. Top of the 3rd, no score. Jimmy Key with Terry Pendleton on first. Pendleton off on the first pitch, and he's gunned. Big out because Jeff Blauser would later double. Bottom of the 3rd, no score, 1 out. Greg Maddux with Paul O'Neill on 3rd. Joe Girardi rips one to center over Marquise Grissom. O'Neill scores. Girardi in with a triple as he's hustling in. 1-0 Yanks. Next batter, Derek Jeter. Jeter singles to center. Girardi scores. 2-0 Yanks just like that. 2 batters later, Jeter on second. Bernie Williams singles to right center. Jeter scores. Bobby Cox needs an Advil. Yankees up 3-0 after 3. Top 4, same score, 1 out. Key in some trouble with the bases loaded. He walks Jermaine Dye. Fred McGriff trots home. That cuts the lead 3-1. Still 1 out with the bases loaded. Next batter, TP. Grounds weakly to Jeter, who turns the 6-3 double play. Key survives, 3-1 Yanks through 4. Top 5, still 3-1, 1 out. Grissom on first. Key's pitches in the dirt. Girardi comes up throwing, and Grissom is called out at second. Looked like he got under the tag. That's exactly what's on Bobby Cox's mind as he comes out to argue. Cox and Grissom plead their case at second base, and Cox ends up getting tossed for the extra dialogue. Yankee bullpen very effective. Top of the 6th, 2 outs. Men on first and third. Graham Lloyd in. He gets Ryan Klesko to pop up to second, and that would end the threat. It's still 3-1 Yankees. 8th inning, same score, 2 outs. Mariano Rivera gets it done. Gas to Javi. Yanks holding on to the 3-1 lead. Top 9, 3-1, 1 out. Klesko on first. John Wetteland on the close. Pendleton slaps the single to right. Klesko goes to third and holds. Mid on first and third, 1 out. Next batter. Wetteland gets Luis Polonia with the heater. 2 outs. Then Grissom singles to right. Klesko scores, cuts the lead 3-2. Next batter, Mark Lemke, and here we go.
Swung on and popped up again off third. Hayes has room. Hayes makes the catch. Yankees win. Oh, Yankees win. The New York Yankees have won the 1996 World Series.
3-2 is your final. The Yankees do a victory lap around the stadium. Wade Boggs gets the ride on the police horse. Manager Joe Torre gets his first taste of World Series victory. Over 4,200 games as a player and a manager, and Joe Torre finally wins a world title. The Yankees' 23rd World Series triumph, a major league record. John Wetteland, just one of many heroes from the organization, became the first reliever to record 4 saves in a series. That earned him the MVP award. The Braves have been amazing in the 90s, but they've lost 3 of their 4 World Series they've been in this decade.